Doodle, Thinky Doodle. Yeah, yeah. Thinky Doodle, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thinky Doodle, yeah, yeah.
All right, we're diving deep today, and this one's for you. We know you're looking to go beyond just, the surface level of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. Like, what did it all mean? What was he trying to say? So we're taking a closer look at this capital B news article.
Okay.
It's called Kendrick Lamar's Multi-Layered Halftime Show Was About Far More Than Just a Rap Beef.
Ooh.
And get this deep dive we're going into. It's about a performance some are saying led to a presidential walkout, had threads all the way back to Trump's inauguration.
Wow.
And even included a Grammy-winning diss track. So, yeah, buckle up.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay, so the article, it really digs into how Lamar's performance, it wasn't just about like a personal feud, but it was actually a whole commentary on things like censorship, racial capitalism, and even toxic masculinity.
Yeah. And this is, think about it. The Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
Right? It's usually all about, safe, marketable, like fun entertainment. For Lamar to use that platform to say something like this, that's pretty huge.
No, totally. It's not something you see every day. The Super Bowl halftime show, it's like everyone's watching. It's supposed to be this big, fun spectacle.
Yeah. Yep.
But like you said, easy to digest. And then Lamar comes in and just flips the script. It's like, wait a minute, there's more to this. It's not just about entertainment.
Right. And that's what makes it so powerful, right? Like he's using this platform, this huge stage to say something really important. He's going against what's expected.
Absolutely. It's not just what he said, it's where he said it. That context adds so much weight to his message. And then on top of that, it wasn't just the words, right? He brought in all these visual elements too to really drive his point home.
Oh, yeah.
You had Samuel L. Jackson dressed up as Uncle Sam.
Right.
The stage was shaped like a PlayStation controller.
Oh, wow.
And then the dancers were in this American flag formation. What do you make of all of that?
Well, I think that all that visual language, it like adds this whole other layer to what he was doing. It creates this tension between what he's saying and the setting. Like he's bringing in elements of the streets, you could say, and then putting them right in the middle of this super mainstream commercial event.
That's so true. I never thought of it that way.
It's like he's refusing to sanitize his message just to make everyone comfortable. And then casting Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam. Come on, that's brilliant. Jackson is this icon, right? He's known for these tough guy roles and for speaking his mind. So him being Uncle Sam, it just adds so many layers.
Right. It makes you think like, is Uncle Sam actually supporting what Lamar's doing? Or is he like uncomfortable? Is he threatened?
Exactly. You don't know for sure. And that's what makes it so interesting.
I love that. He's playing with all these symbols of American culture, Uncle Sam, the flag, video games.
Yeah.
And he's using them to critique American culture at the same time.
Totally. He's not shying away from how complicated all this stuff is.
It's like he knew people were going to criticize him, and he just went ahead and addressed it right there in the performance.
Oh, totally.
In Humble, when he says, this is for the streets, the hood, the real, it's like he's anticipating that backlash and owning it before anyone else can.
It's smart. He's controlling the narrative before anyone else can define it for him.
And speaking of backlash, the article mentioned that some right-wing commentators, they were not happy.
Oh, yeah.
They were calling the performance woke and saying they didn't understand what he was saying at all. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's interesting, right? Because these reactions, they kind of tie into this bigger thing that's happening, about who gets to be represented in popular culture and how they get to be represented. When someone like Lamar comes along and shakes things up, and especially because he's so good at weaving social commentary into his music.
Yeah.
It's not surprising that some people get defensive, especially people who maybe feel like those norms, the way things should be, are under attack.
Oh, that's a great point. And this whole idea of challenging norms, it actually leads us to another fascinating part of the article. It highlights how Lamar used his beef with Drake to kind of critique a specific type of masculinity.
Oh, yeah, that was really interesting.
One that's become pretty popular these days, even celebrated in some circles. Tell me more about that.
Well, it wasn't just about like a personal fight between them.
Right.
The article argues that Lamar was using Drake to represent this like shallow, image-obsessed, commercially driven masculinity.
So it's not just about Drake. It's about a whole cultural trend.
Exactly. He's using Drake as an example, but he's really going after this bigger idea.
I see. So what do you think Lamar's message about masculinity is then?
Well, he's contrasting it with his own message, right? He's talking about authenticity, challenging authority, speaking truth to power.
Wow. So it's really layered, isn't it? It's not just a diss track. It's a statement.
Right. And I think that's what makes Lamar so compelling. He's making us think about these big ideas, even when we think we're just listening to a song.
I'm really struck by how visual this performance was. I mean, we talked about the Little Sam thing, but the whole stage design, it was so deliberate.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like a metaphor for something bigger. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you have the stage shaped like a PlayStation controller, right? Which I think speaks to how entertainment and culture have become commodities.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the dancers in the American flag formation, which to me represents this tension between patriotism and protest. Like, what does it mean to be American? Who gets to define that?
And then to top it all off, you have Serena Williams coming out. I mean, what a moment. What was your reaction when you saw that?
Oh, it was electrifying and so significant given, everything that happened with her in Wimbledon.
You mean when she was penalized for doing the crip walk?
Exactly. And for those who might not know, the crip walk is a dance file that came from South Central Los Angeles, often associated with black culture, but, sometimes viewed negatively by the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
For her to be on the Super Bowl stage doing that same dance move, it says so much about double standards and challenging what's considered acceptable, especially for black women.
It's such a powerful image, her reclaiming that dance move, owning it on that massive stage.
Right. It's about defiance, about expressing yourself on your own terms.
And it ties back to those big themes we've been talking about: censorship, exceeding expectations, demanding recognition.
Exactly. Lamar's performance was about so much more than just entertainment.
Yeah, we've got race, masculinity, censorship, commercialism.
He used every tool at his disposal. Lyrics, visuals, even guest appearances to make his point.
And knowing all of this, that context, it makes the performance hit even harder, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It goes from being just a show to a real statement.
A statement that definitely got people talking. And we'll dive into those reactions next, because I think they tell us a lot about where we are as a society.
Can't wait. All right, let's jump back in. So remember those reactions we were talking about? Some people, especially those right-wing commentators, they really didn't vibe with Lamar's performance.
Yeah, they were calling it woke, saying they couldn't understand it. It's almost like they missed the point entirely. Do you think it's possible, though, that maybe some of that criticism wasn't just about misunderstanding, but about, like, fear?
Fear.
Yeah, like fear of Lamar's influence. He's got this huge platform, and he's speaking directly to a generation that's, well, maybe more open to his message than older folks are.
That's a really interesting point. I hadn't thought about it like that before. But yeah, I think that's definitely possible. I mean, Lamar's performance, it was a challenge, right?
Totally.
And people who feel like the way things are, the status quo, is under attack, well, they often lash out. They get defensive.
So what do you think were the norms, the ways things are that he was challenging, the things that might have made some people so uncomfortable?
I think Lamar was directly challenging the power structures that silence certain voices, marginalized communities, people who've been historically excluded.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing it on the Super Bowl stage.
Yeah.
This platform that's so associated with like corporate America, big business, mainstream entertainment.
Right. He's using their stage to critique them.
Exactly. And by doing that, he's forcing people, even if they don't want to confront some really uncomfortable truths. Truths about race, about inequality, about who holds power in this country. And that could be pretty unsettling for some folks.
Especially those who benefit from those systems, the ones who maybe don't want to see them changed.
Right. It's easier to just look away, pretend everything's fine.
But Lamar's not letting anyone look away.
Nope. He's holding up this mirror to society and saying, look, this is who we are, this is what we're doing, and we need to talk about it.
And that's what art can do, right? It can spark these conversations that we need to have.
Absolutely. And it's those conversations that can lead to real change.
Even if people disagree with what he's saying, the fact that he's got people talking, that's a win in itself.
I agree. Silence is often the biggest obstacle to progress.
Right. And Lamar's performance, it was anything but silent.
There was a shout. a call to action.
And it's not just about what he said, it's about who he is. I mean, here's a Black man using one of the biggest platforms in the world to critique the systems that, let's be honest, have often worked against people like him.
Right. And that's powerful. It disrupts the usual power dynamic. It makes people uncomfortable, but it also opens up a space for something new to emerge.
And it's not like he's just like yelling or preaching, right? He's using art to make his point. Music, wordplay, symbolism, even humor. He's inviting people to think, to engage.
Yeah, he's not trying to force anyone to believe anything. He's just presenting his perspective, his truth, and letting people respond to it.
Okay, so I have to ask, how do you think this performance speaks to the current political climate, especially for someone like you who's so interested in the connections between music and activism?
Oh, that's a great question. I think Lamar's performance is a reflection of the anxieties and the divisions that we're seeing in America right now. His art, it's a response to what's happening around him. It's a way of processing these injustices that we're all witnessing, these inequalities that continue to plague our society. And for those who are involved in activism, well, it's a source of inspiration, a reminder that art can be a powerful tool for social change.
And a reminder that these issues, these political debates, they're not just abstract ideas, right? They're personal. They affect real people's lives in very real ways.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that Lamar does so well. He connects those personal experiences to the bigger systemic issues. He's giving a voice to those who are often marginalized and silenced.
Yeah, he's telling their stories, he's sharing their pain, he's celebrating their resilience.
And he's doing it in a way that's accessible. You know, it's not just for academics or intellectual. He's speaking to everyone, and he's doing it with a sense of hope, with a belief that things can change. And I think that's important, especially for younger generations.
It's like they're seeing this Black artist using his voice and his talent to speak truth to power. It's got to be incredibly inspiring.
It's crucial. Representation matters. Seeing someone who looks like you succeeding on that level, using their platform to advocate for change, that can be life-changing.
It shows them what's possible.
Exactly. And I think it's also a reminder that art can be a powerful force for good. It can spark conversations, challenge norms, and inspire action.
I can get people thinking, feeling, and moving in new ways.
Absolutely. And in a world where we're bombarded with so much information, so many distractions, art has this ability to cut through the noise and reach people on a deeper level. It can connect us, move us, and inspire us to build a better world.
Lamar's performance, it wasn't just entertainment, it was a cultural moment, a moment that's going to have ripple effects for a long time.
I agree. It's something we'll be talking about for years to come.
Okay, before we move on, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier, this idea that Lamar's performance, it wasn't just about a rap beef, right?
Yeah.
The article argued that he was actually using Drake to represent a certain type of masculinity.
Right, the kind it's all about appearances, about material wealth, about dominance, often at the expense of others.
And that ties into this whole conversation about toxic masculinity, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Toxic masculinity, it hurts everyone, not just men.
Right. Women, non-binary folks, everyone.
It limits our potential. It creates this culture of fear and insecurity, and it often leads to violence.
And Lamar, he's challenging that head on.
Yes, he's presenting a different vision, one that's based on authenticity, on vulnerability, on empathy.
And I think that message is really resonating with people, especially younger generations who are more open to questioning traditional gender norms.
It's encouraging to see that shift happening. We need more artists like Lamar who are willing to push back against those harmful stereotypes and promote healthier, more equitable ways of being men.
Absolutely. Okay, so on that note, I think we're ready to talk about the final act of Lamar's performance. Remember Serena Williams and that incredible grip walk?
How could I forget? It was such a powerful statement, full of symbolism and defiance.
All right, welcome back. So we've been going deep into Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show, all the layers, the reactions, the critiques. Now I want to kind of zoom out a little bit, look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
What does this performance tell us about the power of art? Especially in a time when, let's face it, we're pretty divided as a society. Can art really create change?
Lamar's performance was a masterclass in how to use art to make people think and challenge what they thought was normal. He took the Super Bowl, right, which is like the ultimate symbol of American entertainment, commercialism, all of that. And he turned it into this platform for saying something really important.
He didn't hold back at all. Racial injustice, self-sick masculinity, huge issues. And he did it in a way that, well, millions of people were captivated. It's like he created this space where everyone, for a moment, could set aside their differences and just connect with these big ideas.
It's amazing how he managed to do that. He brought artistry and activism together.
Yeah.
It was entertaining, but it also made you think. He used music, he used visuals, he brought out these special guests. It was all part of telling this story that resonated with so many different people.
It was more than just a performance, though, right? It's like this cultural moment.
It definitely sparked a lot of conversations, got people thinking about things in new ways.
Exactly. And it was all inspired by a Black artist using his platform to give a voice to those who often don't have one. He didn't shy away from the issues that really matter to Black community. And he did it with this incredible sense of pride and authenticity.
Yeah, his performance was this celebration of Black culture, Black resilience. And it was a powerful reminder that seeing yourself represented matters.
Especially for young people.
Seeing someone like Lamar succeed on that kind of stage, using his platform to speak out, that's powerful. It gives them hope.
It shows them it's possible to make a difference.
Right. It shows them that their voices matter, that their stories are worth telling, and that they can use their talents to change the world.
It also kind of shifts our idea of what it means to be an artist, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about entertainment anymore. It's about using your platform to stand up for what you believe in, to challenge what's wrong.
Right. And Lamar does that so well. He's not afraid to push boundaries, to make people uncomfortable, but he always does it with this sense of purpose. He really believes that art can make the world a better place.
So back to my original question, what does Lamar's performance say about art's power to create change?
Well, I think it shows us that art can be a real catalyst. It can spark the conversations we need to have.
Right.
It can challenge the way things are, and it can get people moving in the right direction.
It can give a voice to those who have been silenced, and it can hold up a mirror to society, make us confront the things we'd rather ignore.
And hopefully that leads us to build a more just and equitable future.
We started this deep dive trying to figure out what Kendrick Lamar was saying with his Super Bowl performance. I think we did that.
Yeah.
But we also discovered something much bigger, the power of art to challenge, to inspire, and yeah, I think ultimately to change the world. Thanks for joining us.
Doodle, Thinky Doodle.